Remember when we thought Toby Steph was going to be the worst part about 2020?
Who died?
Toby Steph.
Oh, yeah, things were pretty good back then, right? Well, I mean,
That's all considered.
compared to everything else. Okay, let's look at this. I want to show you up here on the screen.
Oh, it wouldn't even fit on a page.
No, you have to have more than a page. All right, let me share this here. And where is mine?
I'm gonna start streaming on Twitch.
There we go. Okay. So I talked about this subjunctive thing. Subjunctive is something that we don't have a lot of things compared to English because we just don't use it. There is more of it in older English. I might have told one of the two classes, I don't know, A or B, but not so much in modern German or modern English. So, and the book, I mean, look at this whole page here. This whole page 48 has a lot of explanation, and it goes on to 49 as well. But I'm going to simplify all this for you. And you can, yes, well, I was going to say you can thank me later, but you're welcome to thank me now. We're going to really just learn just a few of these subjunctive forms. And then another way that Germans more commonly speak in subjunctive, in fact, usually all this, which I'm not going to even confuse you with, wünschte and all this stuff here, they only do that maybe in written form, but I don't know, even then it would be fairly, I won't say unusual, but okay. So we have these verbs here, können, mögen, haben, and sein. That's the present tense form. Two of these are modals, können and mögen, and then haben, sein are ones we've been dealing with since German 1, right? Okay, so forget about the past tense, that simple past, we're not going to worry about that. Let's just skip over here to, this is actually called subjunctive 2, because there's another form of subjunctive, which we're not going to get into, which is even less used than some of the things. But here's the words that I want you to know here. These 4 forms, and I'll say them in their full form. Say please, könnten, möchten, which I think we've talked about before. Möchten, those 2 are modals. That means whatever the main verb is going to go to the end of the sentence. Remember this whole thing with the modals? Okay. And können means can, but what would be like the form of can that would be conditional? Like, well, if I hadn't broken my leg, I could. That's what könnten means. Könnten. Mögen is to like. Anybody remember what möchten means? There's really not a single word we can put it in English, but möchten is would like. Would like. So möchten is actually a pretty important verb to know anyway, because it's how we would let somebody know what we would like at a restaurant or like at a ticket, or anytime you interact with somebody who's going to maybe is in a position to give you something, that's going to be, it's a polite way to say ich möchte. Then haben, well, we have to do the same thing here we did with möchte. We have to say like, would like. Haben turns to hätten. Say hätten. And hätten would mean would have. But we can also maybe make it say other conditional things, like it could also mean could have. So think of all the conditional would have, could have, should have, I don't know. But let's stick with would and could. Have, that's covered in one verb, hätten, hätten. Then sein, to be, right? I am, all right? This is the one form that we do use in English sometimes, even in American English. Wären, so this means to be. This can mean wären, or any form of it would be I would be there. Also, it could mean, the way we use it in English, like if I were there, if he were there. Do you ever, right? I know that's become kind of acceptable in English to say, if I was there or if he was there, but better English would be to say, use the, really one of the few subjunctives we really ever use, if I were or he were there. Okay, that's what wären means. So those are the 4 verbs that I want you to know that are just straight up, to use your language here. It's 2000s Day, right? Just straight up subjunctive verbs. Könnten, möchten, hätten, and wären. Just those 4. Now, the other one, is the one that's going to cover us on, it's going to cover us for everything other, because you say like, well, I would drive there. Well, there's all kinds of verbs that things that people would do, for different reasons, but for conditions we don't have to think about. Maybe there's a different way to a reason why you can't, or you only wish you could, or whatever. And this comes from this verb here, würden. Do they all have umlauts? Könnten, yes, they do. Könnten, möchten, hätten, wären, würden. But würden, here's all the forms of würden. This word means would. Would, W-O-U-L-D. And it works like a modal, so we're going to put it together with können and möchten, because it operates the same way, although it's technically not a modal. Let me pull up a little doc here for you. So let's say, if we say könnten, could. We say möchten, trying to save some time and now say möchten, what does that mean again? Would like. Yeah. So here we're not going to use, and then there's würden, new umlaut letter, U. We're going to use all 3 of the umlaut letters eventually. Würden is just would. Now all of these plus the infinitive, because whatever you can't just say, well, I guess you could say, if it's understood, oh, I would. That's your sentence right there. But out of context doesn't mean anything. I could. That could be a good sentence if it's in good context. I would like. Yeah, that we do more often. But yeah, plus the infinitive with would like. Let's just say that there would be, because when you order, you don't say, I would like to eat the filet mignon. Right? You don't know what you say, I would like. Maybe I would like to have, right? So maybe there's an implied imperative with this one. And could plus, what is it you could do? Plus the infinitive. All right, so let's say ich könnte zum Arzt gehen. I could go to the doctor. Good. What about this one? Wir möchten zu Hause bleiben. What's bleiben? Aha. Wir möchten zu Hause bleiben. We would like to something at home. Bleiben, to stay. Good. But würden is going to work. So notice we have the form of the subjunctive or the modal subjunctive. Where's there we go. And we have that other one here. And then here's the plus the infinitive here at the end. Gehen. Bleiben. Same thing, that's why I'm going to categorize this together with the modals. Let's say du würdest, and we'll look at these forms of this word in a minute. Du würdest die Hausaufgabe nicht machen. So would do. Machen is the verb to do. In this case, it's not do. So what am I saying you're not going to do? Just the homework, yeah? Du würdest die Hausaufgaben, you wouldn't do the homework, yeah? Now, there is a subjunctive form of machen, but I bet most Germans don't even know what it is, honestly. Maybe they would know if they read it, they would. But as far as in their active use of vocabulary and language, they're gonna opt for would. So würden's gonna get used a lot because would like or could, okay, that's fine, but würden can be put together with any other verb to say I would, or you would, or he would, or she would, or they would, or Jace would, or Jason, Caden would, whatever, blah, 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 and then the verb, spielen, let's say at the very end. So we can put it together with almost any verb, and this is automatic. These are all in the subjunctive. It's actually not a tense. In German, at least, it's referred to as a mood. How do you like that? A little extra grammar for you there. A subjunctive mood. Because if you think about it, this comes from the verb can. I can go to the doctor. We like to go to the doctor. This is a little bit more difficult, but actually it comes from the word will. You will go, you will not do the homework. But now in this conditional mood, that this verb kind of changes the mood of the sentence. I can go to the doctor. I could go to the doctor. We like to stay at home. We would like to stay at home. You will not do your homework. You would not do your homework. So technically, I guess actually is a verb tense, but in German it's referred to as a mood. You're in the real mood here now with this subjunctive stuff. Okay, now let's look at this next one. Hätten. We've covered umlaut O, umlaut oops, umlaut O, umlaut U, now umlaut A, and let's say wären. Okay, so let me take these down too. Got that one already. And no underline. Okay, so this would mean, oops, would have, and this would be, or possibly were in some cases, like if I were there. So let's look at a couple examples here. Ich hätte I would have, now we're going to be careful because you can use this verb to mean like I would have done that. You can use it like in the perfect tense, like, but it would be something different though. But I would have done something. I would have eaten that. Ich hätte das gegessen. So you can use it as a helping verb that way. Let's just use it straight as a verb. I would have meine Hausaufgabe. Let's just say that. I would have my homework. This is maybe going to go on, aber, but my dog ate it or something, right? Wären, wir wären lieber, rather, wir wären lieber in Florida, right? Wouldn't we? Okay, so we would rather be, would be. Here we threw in another adverb or rather. We would be rather, no, we would rather be, it's in English. Wir wären lieber, it's in German spelled differently, but wir wären lieber in Florida. But let's say that your plans fell through on something, like you're planning on going someplace this summer and it got canceled. It might have happened to somebody. So you could say, wir wären, like as the weeks go on and you're stuck at home and your vacation would have been right about that time. Wir wären heute in Fort Lauderdale. Because on our schedule, we were supposed to be in Fort Lauderdale today. Wir wären heute in Fort Lauderdale. We would be in Fort Lauderdale today, but COVID, right? Okay. So a lot of times these phrases, are going to be started with what we call a then clause. And a then clause, then, two ends. And then means, means if. So wenn ich in Florida wäre, what would that mean? Wenn ich in Florida wäre. Anyone? If I, better English, if I were in Florida. There's a reason why this is pushed to the end of this phrase here, but we'll talk about that later. Wenn ich in Florida wäre. And then we go on and say what we'd be doing if I were there now, right? Well, yeah, and what was the next word you said? If I were in Florida, I would be. And what was the second word you said? Swimming, right. I would be swimming, right. And how that phrase here is going to be, I'll show you this, but I'll explain why tomorrow. Wenn ich in Florida wäre, there'll be a comma there. That's what we call a dependent clause there. If I were in Florida, but it doesn't totally stand on its own. So we have to have more information. It could if it was in context, I know, but wenn ich in Florida wäre, würde, there's würden again. Würde ich schwimmen, is what you said? Good. And so what we have is, on either side of the comma, we have two different subjunctive words, wäre und würde.
Why is swimming a full verb?
Yes, because würden works as a modal. That's why I put it up here with these. So I'm going to actually say that here. Even though würden's not a modal, it follows all the same rules, though. Let's say subjunctive modals. Now, please don't forget that the German word for subjunctive is Konjunktiv with a K. And so I'm saying subjunctive, and you might see in the book Konjunktiv. Just know that's the same thing, just English and German. Those are modals, and then these are verbs. Well, okay, obviously they're all verbs, but let's say, what can we say? Infinitive. Nah, let's just say that. Infinitives. And only two we're going to learn. Hätten and wären. That's it. So there's a wenn clause, which has this wenn meaning if. Wenn ich in Florida wäre, and we'll talk about why is wäre at the end of the phrase, why not up here? There's a reason why. And why is würde in front of ich? Something we've already learned actually, but I'll remind you about it. Würde ich, and then the full verb at the end. There's actually three verbs in this sentence, right? Including helping verbs. Wäre, würde, und schwimmen. But it would be in English too the same way. If I were in Florida, I would, second verb, be swimming, right? So there's three verbs also in that form as well. Okay, so that's the forms I'm going to be teaching. Let's look here back at the, let's see, here we go. And if you'll see there's all the forms of würden. And I'm going to put this on the board real quick. So let me move this camera over here for our friend Sydney. All right. Right now she's seeing nothing. Just black. Nothingness. Where did I put this here? I hope so. I hope so. All right. Well, I'm going to turn the light on here, Sydney, so you'll be able to see that board better. Okay, so out of those verbs that I mentioned, you're going to see a pattern in the way that they form the subjunctive. Let's see if this one to work here. Let's say könnten, würden. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank now. Oh, möchten, thank you. Möchten, and then wären and hätten. So I hope you know that wären and hätten both come from the verbs we've been learning since chapter 1, to be and to have. So we're back to that again. So if we put down all the pronouns, ich, du, sie, sie, es, wir, ihr, and then sie meaning they. Watch, there's a pattern here. Ich, underline this here. Ich könnte, du könntest, ST, full verb, of course, for formal you, könnten, and then könnte. Notice that third person and first person are going to be the same, always on these. These all three are könnte. Wir, it's a full verb, könnten. Ihr könntet. And sie meaning they gets a full verb like we. Könnten. So seeing these endings, okay, we can keep going here. Ich würde, do, what would that be? Würdest, sie, würden, sie, es, würde, wir, sorry, that should be an N. Sorry. There we go. Würden, and with ihr, würdet, and sie. Good. And it goes on. Ich möchte, du möchtest, sie möchten. So notice that we have the these here, the plural and the formal you, all get the full form. While there's the S, always ends in E. Do ends in ST, so that's like normal. Ich ends in E, that's like regular verbs. But first and third person are the same. That's something that changes from regular verb conjugation. Again, wären, ich wäre, du wärest, sie wären, wäre, sie wäre, es wäre, wir wären, ihr wäret, sie wären, right? Like with wären, I said that es wäre, what does this mean on its own? Es wäre, it. So wären, wäre comes from the verb to be, so this would be it. Not were, but it would what? Be. So you could say, es wäre schön. It would be nice. Or if someone has some idea of something that we could do, you might say, das wäre schön. Or, das wäre nett. That would be nice of you, yeah? Das wäre nett. Or maybe I push back an exam or something, and das wäre am Freitag. That would be on Friday, but now I'm Montag. Yeah? Okay, maybe. That's not true for our quiz. Good. So would be goes into one word, a form of wären. But this is, pretty common phrases you might hear. Good. Say one more thing about hätten, and then I'll be done with this. Then with a different pen. So ich hätte. That's not a good pen. Ich hätte. What would that mean then? I have, but here's subjunctive, so it would be I would have, right? So remember how we can put the word gern together with a verb, and what does it mean then? Ich spiele Fußball gern. Yeah, it means something about you playing that sport or something. Ich spiele Fußball gern. What does that mean? Yep, ich spiele Fußball would be I play football, but ich spiele Fußball gern, and I change the meaning a little bit. It means I like to play. Anything you like to do, you throw the word gern into the sentence, okay? And so it's possible to kind of, and I won't say manipulate it, but this is a really common phrase to say, ich hätte gern eine Pizza, or whatever else. So what are we saying then? If it means I would have, what does ich hätte gern mean?
I would have liked.
Not past tense though. I would like a pizza. So it kind of
So that how you order?
it kind of like, well, you can definitely you can, but it kind of gets into this area of möchten. I would like. So you can, when you order something or you ask for something, you could use möchten or ich hätte gern. So like in a restaurant. So ich hätte gern das Jägerschnitzel mit Knödeln und ein großes Bier. Ja? So ein Liter oder ich möchte. Ich hätte gern. I would like to have. Perfect. You're going to get all the food you want then. Ich hätte gern. Or ich möchte ein Jägerschnitzel mit Knödeln und ein großes Bier. Ja? Ein Liter Bier. Good. Same thing. They're going to bring you the same thing. You're going to get to the same end the same way. So by throwing, that only works with the verb to have. You have the ich möchte mean you would like to have something. But möchte can mean other things too. Ich möchte nach Florida fliegen. So möchten has a bit broader use, depending on what the infinitive is at the end. Ich möchte meine Hausaufgaben nicht machen. Ich möchte heute nicht ins Theater gehen. Ich möchte heute ins Theater gehen. I'd like to go there, okay? But this only works with would like to have, because that's what hätten means, would have. Or it's a form of the verb to have. Okay. That might be a little bit much to get into. But good. I didn't put them all on there because I think you guys can see there's a pattern. Yeah? Ich könnte, ich hätte. Du könntest, du hättest. Let me, Sydney, I want to take a quick picture of that for you. And I'll send it to you because I know you can't see it very well there. My phone doesn't recognize me anymore. Put some mask on.
As we're getting ready to dismiss for break, a reminder that 9th and 10th grade, you will remain in your classrooms until dismissed for break. In 9th grade, we ask that you please sit at break in the upper school gym lobby. For everyone, please remain 4 seats to a table and don't stand around